All right, praise God. We're here. We're in Ecclesiastes. Um, we're in chapter 3, but I still don't understand how to respond to the last few verses of chapter 2 there. I was looking at them before I turned on the camera, and I've been thinking about them throughout the day. Yesterday I was thinking about it, and I still don't know what to think. I talked about it last time. I kind of have Solomon, you think about his perspective of where he is, he doesn't have knowledge, or at least as he's writing this, or maybe he doesn't, or maybe he's choosing to not reveal Christ. Obviously, Christ hasn't appeared at this point in history when this was written by Solomon. This was just the beginning of the period of Kings and Chronicles, or Kings rather, but part of the way through Chronicles. But you had David before that point, and now Solomon, and David certainly knew. Some of the things David said in Psalms would indicate that he knew about Christ. I would even argue that Solomon knew something, as there's a lot of hints in Proverbs that make you think about it and make you question how much did Solomon know about this. And then you read Ecclesiastes, and it's kind of a negative. It's real, but it's almost too pessimistic at times, but it's definitely real, and most of it's true. But do you have your moments where you say, boy, I really should have gotten wiped out there, or man, that could have been so much worse? That's something I've been thinking about lately, is how I deserve so much worse, and yet he gives me such mercy. Realistically and typically, this is what happens. But when I hope, something miraculous, something you'd never expect occurs, and then you take a step back and you're like, Solomon, what about Christ? What about grace? What about God's mercy? I'm just going to read the last few verses of chapter 2, starting from 16. For there is no remembrance of the wise more than of the fool forever. Seeing that which now is in the days to come shall all be forgotten. And how dieth the wise man? As the fool. Therefore I hated life, because the work that is wrought under the sun is grievous unto me. For all is vanity and vexation of spirit. Yea, I hated all my labor which I had taken under the sun, because I should leave it unto the man that shall be after me. And who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Yet shall he have rule over all my labor wherein I have labored, and wherein I have showed myself wise under the sun. This is also vanity. Therefore I went about to cause my heart to despair of all the labor which I took under the sun. For there is a man whose labor is in wisdom, and in knowledge, and in equity. Yet to a man that hath not labored therein shall he leave it for his portion. This also is vanity and a great evil. For what hath man of all his labor, and of the vexation of his heart, wherein he hath labored under the sun? For all his days are sorrows, and his travail grief. Yea, his heart taketh not rest in the night. This is also vanity. There is nothing better for a man than that he should should eat and drink, and that he should make his soul enjoy good in his labor. This also I saw, that it was from the hand of God. That's one point that we made last time, is about work, you know. I'm saved by grace. Do I now just sit here and no work? You know, I think work is a good thing, you know. I think you're earning you're earning what does it say in the New Testament? If a man not work, he shouldn't eat, something like that, you know. That's an indicator there. Wouldn't you feel better if you earned what you ate, you know? It's a kind of a... And then when you get that job and you do start working, yes, you have problems in whatever atmosphere you're in, but is there some satisfaction in you achieving some kind of goal, you know? Don't let it become an idol, you know, he's not saying that, or let it replace God. Don't let any of that happen, but recognize where your blessing comes from, and recognize that there's a lot of work to be done in this world. You can do good things. You can do great things for God and for others. And I don't know. I just... satisfaction in what you're doing. Yeah, I don't know what to say. But I think what he's talking about there in 24, that is pretty important. I did catch that last time, but the other parts of it, I'm not sure. 25. For who can eat, or who else can hasten hereunto more than I? For God giveth to a man that is good in his sight wisdom, and knowledge, and joy. But to the sinner he giveth travail, to gather and to heap up, that he may give to him that is good before God. This also is vanity and vexation of spirit. I think, for the most part, you know, he rewards the good behavior. He can bless you if you're living in the land, you're walking with him. The sinner, though, I think there's an inevitability of what he's describing here. Judgment, maybe? I'm not sure. But we're moving on to chapter 3. I don't think I've prayed yet, so let's do that before we start chapter 3. Starting in prayer from Matthew chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Amen. All right, continuing with chapter 3 of Ecclesiastes. The proof continued. The weary round of life. Verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, a time to rend, and a time to sow, a time to keep silence, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. There's a time to hate? Interesting. You know where I would go with this conversation, right? It was Super Bowl Sunday yesterday. I knew it was going to be garbage. I mocked. We watched the first quarter because my brother wanted to watch it a little bit, and I just mocked it so badly, Just every single commercial was racist, progressive. My particular group of people can go rot in hell. That was the propaganda that was displayed during that evil satanic event. So I mocked it. I just mocked it and mocked it. So the person creating all of that propaganda and this narrative, the story there, and the person watching it, if he's brain dead, would come away with it and say, isn't that great? See, peace and love, peace and love. We're just all Americans. We're just so, as long as you subscribe to this agenda here, And their agenda is, like I said, my particular group of people can go die. That's their agenda. That's what they want. Just, go die, and then, yeah, it's insane. And then they lift up another group of people and say they're the only ones who are good, and have you ever witnessed human behavior? Have you ever worked in retail? Do you witness the individual? I'm not pointing my finger at a particular race or group of people or anything. I'm just saying, have you worked and lived long enough in it to recognize that there are good and bad in every group of people, so that you can't really define that group based on the presentation you're making, So when Solomon makes this statement, a time to hate, a time to peace, a time to love, a time to time, the liberal progressive watching that propaganda would probably say that this Bible is bad because it's promoting hate. Oh, how typical. Hate speech. Actually, what I witnessed yesterday was the greatest hate speech I've ever witnessed. And it's completely illegal. What they're doing and what they're presenting is creating hate. They're saying that they don't want hate, they don't want racism, but what they're presenting to their audience is the most racist, hateful thing you've ever witnessed. And, if they want me to die, if I have to continue living with this filth in front of my face, take it. Take my life. I don't want to be here anymore. with this is pure evil. So, if you think about it logically, with a sound mind, and you approach this in the correct way, this makes total sense. If you approach it from the perspective of the liberal progressive that watches the Super Bowl, you will read this and you will not understand it. It's so sad. 9. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboureth? I have seen the travail which God hath given to the sons of men to be exercised in it. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. 2 mind-boggling things there. First part is the first part of that verse. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. His time. It's the specific. He's specifying his time. So in my time, I want to be successful. I want this. I want that. Wham. Actually, I don't really want any of those things that I used to want. Maybe I just want a wife, or maybe I just want... Maybe I want the Lancelot want, okay? I was thinking about that the other day. Just let me perform one miracle in my day. Maybe that's all I want. Actually, I want to perform hundreds of miracles. I want to be of use to somebody today. I don't want to be the failure, the hypocrite Christian, the total fraud that most of Christianity is today. I don't want to be that. I want to be the real deal. I want to be a walking force for good in this life. And I want to be of use to somebody out there. Well, I've been in front of this camera for 2 years, I think. Yeah, about 2 years. And sometimes, like this morning, you can get kind of down about where you are with everything and have you actually accomplished anything. And from my perspective, I feel bad about myself, Now from God's perspective, maybe he's like hammering me out, he's burning away the rough fat and the garbage that continues to hold me back. And maybe in his time, I will work, or he will work some miracle through me, because I have finally walked to the point where I can be of use to him. And that would be beautiful in his time. Maybe it's 100 years from now. I don't know. But in my time, you can get very negative. That's the first part of that. Also, he hath set the world in their heart, so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. And that says to me that maybe Satan doesn't, I don't know. I don't know. What does that mean? So that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. He gives us every opportunity, and he's kind of pushing us toward an agenda of good, mind you. The purpose that he seeks to set out, he seeks to create in our lives, he sets that somewhere. And do we find it? Maybe. I'm not sure. I understand the first part, though. 12, let's move on. I know that there is no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life. That's a very mature statement there. What he's saying, there's no one good, no, not one. Now I can choose to do good, as it's saying there, to do good in his life. Wouldn't it be a good world if people did good instead of rottenness? But you have to recognize that at the onset of what you're planning to do, right? In the first step, you have to recognize that I am a sinner. I am not Christ. It's Christ that is the only good, and it's Him working in me that produces fruit, produces the good work. It's because of Him, because of what He did, that He makes me want to do some good miracle, something good. I want to do what pleases Him. "13. And also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of God." It's another interesting discussion point there, but I'm not going to pursue it. 14. I know that whatsoever God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. And God doeth it, that men should fear before Him. That's another discussion topic I wanted to talk about. I was listening to another Bible speaker, and he was emphasizing that why, what is the point in what's going on right now? Is there any fear of the Lord right now? And maybe that's the whole problem today. There's no fear of the Lord. If justice is coming to my country, maybe things have to go the way they're going right now in order to give glory to Him and recognize Him. Maybe we'll get back to a point of fearing and humbling ourselves before God and recognizing His power, that it's only Him, He's the only one who can save us, not some man. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and God requireth that which is past. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. Yep. I said in mine heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and for every work. That's something that I've been saying for a long time, that in the end God wins, and He is going to judge everything. He's going to look into everybody's hearts and see really who they are. I mean, He already knows. Some of these churches that only read a few verses and send you home, and you never really get into the Bible with your congregation, there's problems there. And God looks in the heart and sees the pastor. You got maybe this mega church and a lot of people donating, Is it just a money-making scheme? Do you become a pastor just to make money? You are in the wrong place. Souls are what you're dealing in. There's a lot of responsibility with that. So for you to think you can win souls and make a bunch of money, He's going to see all that. He's going to see in your heart if there's just this greedy, empty black hole. You won't be going to heaven. He sees my intent. He sees how I really think. God, have mercy on me. I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. I know exactly what he's talking about. In fact, some men are worse than beasts. Say a beast would be better than them. It's insulting, actually, to beasts, some of these men. 19. For that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts. Even one thing befalleth them, as the one dieth, so dieth the other. Yea, they have all one breath, so that a man hath no preeminence above a beast, for all is vanity. Well, human beings have a soul. Do animals have a soul? I'd like to think so, but I don't. Bible doesn't really talk about where they end up, so I don't know. But as far as our conclusion, yes, I will die the same as my little dog, or Jack. It's inevitable. It's part of life. All is vanity. All go into one place. All are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth? I don't know. So you're saying all animals go to hell? It's not all dogs go to heaven? Carface didn't make it? Sorry. Wherefore I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that is his portion. For who shall bring him to see what shall be after him? Let's read it one more time. Wherefore I perceive that there is nothing better than that a man should rejoice in his own works, for that is his portion. For who shall bring him to see what shall be after him? Yes and no. I mean, yes, you can enjoy working, and you should try to find God no matter what you're doing, and He can use whatever you're doing, but don't let it become an idol. That's what I would hint at with that. Eventually, in the end of Ecclesiastes, that's what he emphasizes, is to seek God. That's the important thing, and to give Him the glory. But in this, one of these, in chapter 3 here, we just concluded he seems to be more focused on the work itself yes, there's nothing wrong with that, but don't let it become the God. The work comes from God, and God can bless you or he can curse you in whatever you're doing. So be careful. All right, we'll move on to chapter 4 next time. Thank you for listening. Have a blessed day.